Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. Now in session 5 of our art journal, can you believe it? It's already session 5. It's going so quick. We have another layout. Now I'm in the process of working off scraps, and I found a wonderful bunch of strips of paper that I want to incorporate in today's layout. Now remember, our art journal, well, my art journal is a circle. So every page is cut into circles. No, I haven't added all the eyelets yet, but I'll get there. I do about 2 sheets at a time, or 2 eyelets per sheet at a time. So eventually they will all be added. I think today I want to work on the black sheet. So I'm just going to pull this one out and I just add all the rest. Now, the beauty of not having it tied or bound permanently, I can now take it apart and then add it in whatever order I so wish when I am done. Now, both sides, remember, we have both sides. And so far, we only have worked on one side of our sheets. We've got 4 done now. Today will be the 5th one. And there's another one. So though we only have 12 sheets in here, we actually have 24 sheets plus the inner covers as well. So there's quite a bit still that we can use in our art journal. Nothing stops us to add a few more extra pages. There's still some leeway with our ribbon that is long. Now, if this gets too short and this is getting too thick, maybe with things that's bulky in there, I can always replace this ribbon with something else, and it should be okay. Later, when the album is complete, I might change it to an elastic cord. Why elastic? Because then I can still have that leeway of opening it up to actually appreciate my art journal by easily opening it up. If I tie it too tight, it will always bend like this and you can't see the page in its entirety. So those are just some thoughts that I am thinking about at this stage, not saying you should do it. So let's jump right into working on our black background page. The strips of paper was from a previous project where various sheets were painted. These were A4 sheets, and you can see there are some strips. I'm going to just choose a few. Now, we know that this is about 18 centimeters across and down, but I just want a variety of strips here. Let's see. Let's see what we shall see. I think this do I have an orange one yet? Nope, not yet. Let's see another one. I think I like that orange strip better. And maybe this pink one that has got a bit. Do I like the lighter orange or this one? Not so much. Let's see. Let's work with this first, and then we will see the rest. What I was thinking, and I don't want to think too much, you know me. If I start thinking about things, I overthink, and then I don't get to taking action. So if we do this and we add it, it will add bulk. I know it won't look like much or a bit too crazy, and it's all good. See, then we shorten. I want all of that. So what I'll do is I want to start using some of this. Now, if I cover that completely, we will have a problem. See, that's why I prefer to first work on the page and then adding the eyelets afterwards. Because when I was doing this, the dark green one and this one has already got it in, I won't be able to cover my page. So I'm going to just do that. There will be a piece in between. What I can do is, however, I know I'm just thinking, how will I do this? I'm going to add it on here, just a strip, and let's learn from the previous lesson. Remember in the previous one where I've done that flower page, which has got a bit of a vintage feel, but not quite. It's got some strips of paper that I added with that beautiful flower. I almost called it a rose flower that one of my students has made, and a few years back, 2 years back, 18 months back basically, and I wanted to somehow journal with it. And the day that he gave it to me, I made a promise to him, and I said I will be journaling this flower to forever keep it. And I kept my promise a few months later, but I kept my promise. So maybe a lot of collage medium, maybe more than I actually need, but I'm going to add this and just trim this page. And I want collage medium so that it can actually stick there. And I'm going to just hold it. It's not necessary to hold it in place, but because of the eyelets, I need to now kind of manipulate the paper and get it to go around the eyelets. And that is why I am holding it down so fiercely, because I have to poke holes in this now so that we can still utilize. So what I'll do is I'll just push a skewer through there. Mind your fingers on the other side, don't injure yourself. So there we have that. Now that looks a whole lot better with that. Let's trim this down, and then we can continue with the rest of this page. And I'm going to add more strips in the same manner, okay, without poking holes, but just gluing them down. I just want to get that a little bit molded around those eyelets still. That should be okay. Just want to add a little bit there, as I did not add any glue. And you can see on there it is so quick. It's dry, it's sorted. Now let's continue with the rest of this. You can always cut this down a bit to incorporate more of these strips, maybe in a repetition or a repetitive pattern. So I'm going to split these strips. I've got plenty more of those, and this time just overlapping this a tiny bit, just in the slightest bit. This is a fine tip nozzle, and it makes the application of it so much easier. And I guess that's why I prefer to just have this as my glue. I just want to make sure that I line up my strips and that this is straight in comparison with the eyelets. Now this one I just need to guide a little bit. I'll just, there we go, that looks a little bit neater. I just want to see if this is, no, you can't really see it from that side. I'm going to add more strips and I will be back. I think I will be just cutting some of these strips in half so that we have opportunity to add more of these. And no, I'm not measuring, I'm just cutting it in half. I like the ripped part of it much better. So I will be back in a few minutes. I'm back. I've got my strips added to our black circle. The next step, I think, remember these things I never planned beforehand, are to ink this up. And I'm going to use black Distress Oxide ink for this purpose. Distress Oxide in Black Soot. I've got a stencil here. I can't tell you the name. Where did I get it? One of those sites. Loved what I saw, and that's what I got. So I can't give you the name. I have no idea. I've had it quite some time already. Going to start inking this up. Just grabbing a packaging cover here so that I can cover my work surface. Going to line this up, and I need to move this later on. So I'm going to start inking up, and I want good coverage. Just need to be very careful. Don't want to ink outside of these areas. So it's going to be tricky, and I need to do this very slowly. I'm using Distress Oxide ink, not because I'm going to splash it with water, but it's got a pigment base, so it is more opaque. If I could, I would have used black ink completely, but there's no way that I can add that black without it seeping through. Same with acrylic paint. I would have loved to have that utter coverage of acrylic paint. Got to make do with what we've got. Now, here it's going to start getting tricky. I just want to move it a tiny little bit, but still keep it lined up. I'm going to line this up as best I can, just to ensure the numbers will still be visible once I move this. So not too much. Then we have to move this. Now there's the reveal already, and I would have loved to keep that, but it didn't work that way. Let's just put this one back and get the edge of this just inked a little bit so that it's clearer, and the 7 year as well. That way, maybe the 6 as well. That is better. Now for this, I'm going to just add this there and have to hold onto this as well and move my hand once I'm done with inking here. Same thing that I just did. I will just have to be very careful now because we've got other numbers to the side of this. Just moving this a little bit so that it is easier to hold onto. And a little bit to the side. I'm going to move it to get this also done. And I'll do that off camera quickly. The inking is done, or the stenciling is done. I'm now going to go ahead and just use archival ink to just ink the edges. I could have used Distress Oxide ink as well. Going to round it off just to get that darkness on the edge. And then it's time to add a sentiment type like thing, just to round it off. And there we have it. Something that would have just lain around, not being used, is now utilized into a beautiful, bright and colorful layout. So I would love to get some sentiment on here. And I'm thinking, I don't know, some numbers, maybe in a neon color, some yellow. I'm going to just look in my scrap box for a little strip of paper to use as a sentiment. Inking this up in archival ink. And it is the numbers from the Stuff to Say set, CMS 110, that I'm adding to Scrappy's neon green, which is perfect. And of course using a stamp block so that it is a good impression. Going to just trim this. I could have used my craft knife and ruler, which is sometimes way easier. Just lining that up the edge of the paper. Already cut the bottom, so it's fine. And then just lining it up and trimming that part off. I find it is sometimes quicker. Not as quick as a paper trimmer, but relatively quick. Now I could have trimmed this one. I'll just use my scissors to trim the bottom part a little bit, get it a little bit more aligned in the middle. And for this, I think I'm going to just trim it at a slant, and there too. Inking the edges as I want this to stand out. I'm going to add some foam tape for a bit of dimension. not saturated as I was using it for that, so most of the ink is already on that page. Let's do the top again, here and there, and the edges. This one seems fine. So next step is to get that foam tape and turning this over. I always keep the tiny little bits, so today just adding a bit, so we have a bit of dimension. A few strips, about 3, let's see, not wanting it too wide, but we need a bit of dimension there, and that should and one on my finger, just keep that to one side. Now to pull off the backing, and we will add this to this page, and then we will call it a day. This one is done then. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this? Now I just want to get this straight before I push it down. Let's do it there. And there we have it. Now of course this is buckling because of the weight of the paper that we glued on, collaged on, but there we have it. I think it came out really nice using those strips of paper that's just lying around for now. And just notice I started off with the same and ended off with the same strip of paper. Thanks for joining me. Please go work in your art journal, try something. Just try to make a spread layout for yourself. Once you start and the bug bites you, you are going to be hooked on this. It gives you some sort of a medium to work with to express yourself, putting your thoughts, feelings, ideas, emotions, all of that, memories even, on paper. If you want to see more content like this, give me a thumbs up. I'll appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel too, as well as hitting that notification bell. See you back soon, the same time and same place for the next episode. Goodbye.